Assalamu alaikum.
Are you comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Abira Ijaz.
Yes, sir.
What is the meaning of word Abira?
Sir, it basically means fragrance.
Foreign Service of Pakistan. You have opted for, that is your first information office. Why didn't you opt for PAS and PSP?
Sir, I believe that your aptitude is very important for whatever service you're choosing. And I believe I do not have the correct aptitude for police. And when it comes to PAS, I believe, sir, it's a very high pressure job. And again, somehow I believe I cannot deal with that kind of pressure that comes with it. There is a lot of politics involved in it. Then it's a high, power politics. It exists in that force. You have this pressure from political arena, and also you have to work off-duty hours as well. And I'm very realistic about it because I know one day I'll have a family. So I would like to maintain a work-life balance, and for that, I believe I might not be a very suitable candidate for PAS.
Okay. There is extreme polarization and political chaos in the country. How will you explain it?
There is, and I would say that the political instability that we're facing right now, it's the direct product of that polarization. We have these two political groups that are constantly hustling at each other, and due to that, the political process and democracy of our country and the whole process of governance is getting affected in that way. So I believe it's because one of the factors is illiteracy. We as a nation are not aware that when we think of a political person or a political candidate, it's not just about the charisma, but we have to, think and evaluate if a person is suitable for the job. I think that the population, they do not follow this rule. Either they go for populistic moves, show of power, who seems to be more in control. And for that, the two groups that are in power, they manipulate that situation and they exploit the population.
Jacinda Ardern is your favorite personality, one of the...
Yes, sir.
She resigned.
Yes, sir.
From her office. Or don't you think she lacked courage to face the tough situation in the country? Why should she resign?
Sir,
rather than face the situation.
You make a valid point, sir. But it is, I believe, one perspective to look at the situation. One can say that she got intimidated or she got fearful of the situation and resigned. But I believe then again, you should know your potential and aptitude. You should know if you can deliver your best while, sitting in a position. I believe she's an example for politicians in our country. They never leave their positions. I have never seen anybody resigning in this country by this reason that maybe I'm not good for this job. You should critically evaluate yourself and then think, am I able to cater the needs that are asked from me? So I do not think as the fact that she lacked courage. I think it was strength in that, admitting that she does not have what it takes to do the job anymore, and she left so that somebody better can fill in the shoes for her.
Right. There is price hike, there is inflation, you see.
Yes, sir.
What we can do, what the country, those at the helm, what can they do to bring this, down for the interest of the people?
So, I think economic stability can help the government to bring the inflation down. They will need to have, the inflation does not reach to 24.5% in a day. It has gradually risen. So it will take time for the inflation to go down as well. But the government, what they can do is they can start taking measures in the right direction. They can start focusing on the current account deficit that we're facing, how we are importing much more than we're exporting, how agricultural sector should be our strength, but it is becoming a liability due to climate change. The government needs to make relevant policies and start working in the correct direction. And maybe within the span of 1 year, they can bring down the inflation.
NAB has badly failed to bring down the corruption levels in the country. In fact, the corruption level has increased over the last 2-3 years. The global index says. So, what is your take on it? How can we make NAB more effective, more transparent? It's working.
Sir, I would agree that NAB hasn't been able to perform as well that NAB should have. So I believe, again, it is somehow related to politics in our country. There's a lot of political interference. Even if somebody at NAB wants to work effectively, and they want to go against a family that is influential and they have done some crime, they can't do it because of the political connections that they have. We need to develop a mechanism which cuts the political influence, its connection with the NAB authorities. We need more transparent mechanisms. NAB, I guess, needs more transparency and accountability. There should be internal measures to make sure that the superiors are checking whether if there's something weird going on among the juniors. And administrative reforms are always there. Maybe they can introduce incentives to ensure that the people are working with more transparency.
There is a lot of hue and cry about the reforms, amendments in the NAB ordinance. The matter is also lying before the Supreme Court. Why there is so much hue and cry about it?
So there's always this much of cry around a problem when the solution can't be found. Now NAB wants to go after big political families, whose names were involved in corruption cases. And of course, those political hegemons, they cannot allow that, because then their own stakes in the government will be compromised. So because of that, we're unable to, reform the whole structure of NAB.
About the reforms, about the amendments which have taken place in the NAB ordinance, about 28, 30 amendments.
Right, sir. Sir, I am well aware of the amendments that are happening, but I'm not well versed on them at the moment. So I will definitely look into it again.
You should. What is the importance of gender studies, and what do we gain from it?
So gender studies, as a subject, it talks about how different genders play their roles in a society, how patriarchy exists, how patriarchy manipulates women, and in turn how women they're exploited in the country. I think one of the practical approach that can be used through gender studies could be to locate and pinpoint all the reasons for why women are getting exploited at their homes, at their workplaces, and generally within the society, so that the government maybe can launch relevant programs to provide protection to women. And they already have been doing this. There has been this Harassment Act for women's protection that was passed in the National Assembly. And I think we're going in the right direction. And, with more amendments like that, one day women will be more secure in this country.
Benazir Bhutto is your another favorite personality. What can you tell us about her?
She was the daughter of Mr. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. She got her education from abroad, from Oxford University. Later on, when her father died, she and her mother, Nusrat Bhutto, they started looking after the political party that was left by his father. He stepped in his shoes, in place of his father. And that was a big responsibility on her shoulders, which she carried out nicely, I would say. Very nicely she was able to do that. She was successful in making 2 political governments in Pakistan, which were then the assemblies were dissolved due to the political instability in the country. But I would say she was an icon for many people like us who want to see more women in politics, because politics in Pakistan is such a male-dominated field, and to see a woman reach the highest position, it's an inspiration for us all. Very unfortunately, she passed away when she came back from the United Kingdom, and she was on December 27th, 2007. And yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Abira, your first choice is Foreign Service of Pakistan.
Yes, ma'am.
But you just responded to Mr. Saud that you are a family-oriented person and you want time for your family.
Yes, ma'am.
Foreign Service is 24/7 job. It is not 9 to 5 job. How will you deal with that?
You're right in pointing out that I just said that. Ma'am, that is my preference, but foreign service is a passion. I am very passionate about it, and I really want to be able to, to be given the opportunity to work in Foreign Service of Pakistan. I believe, when there is a situation on person, you get these loopholes and you try to make things work. So I believe for my passion, I'll be able to, adjust whatever adjustments are required.
You might have to compromise your family life.
Yes,
You may be posted abroad, maybe to Africa.
Ma'am, I've heard that you can take your family with you. So I think that would somehow give me a little comfort in knowing that my family is near to me. It doesn't matter if I have to work more hours, as long as I can come back home to them, and they're safe and I'm safe, and that's I think the priority for me.
Do you know the difference between a high commissioner and an ambassador?
Yes, ma'am. I will tell you. I think the representatives of embassy are ambassadors, and representatives from high commissioner or high commissioners. What are the difference between embassy and high commission is that embassies are diplomatic missions that are sent to non-Commonwealth countries, while high commissions they are the diplomatic missions that are sent to the Commonwealth countries.
Of a Commonwealth country to a Commonwealth country.
Thank you, ma'am.
So Pakistan at times is part of Commonwealth, time it's not. So sometimes you have high commissioners, sometimes you don't.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Do you know the structure of an embassy?
Ma'am, I think I know the different posts that we have. I can maybe tell you that.
Yes.
Ma'am, there is assistant director. Then we have the director.
I'm talking about embassy, not the ministry.
Oh, no, ma'am. Sorry, I'm not aware of that right now.
Your recent book that you read was The Alchemist.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us something about alchemy?
Ma'am, well, it is said that alchemy is this ancient knowledge through which, alchemists, they could turn any metal into gold. This is called alchemy.
But why is there so much mystery and black magic and all those things affiliated to alchemy?
Ma'am, because it's for a scientific mind, it's unnatural. When we look at the laws of science, they would tell you this is copper, this is zinc, this is, these are metals. They have different and distinct, unique properties, and they can never take, they cannot never transform themselves into another metal. But alchemy will tell you something different altogether. Therefore, all the, they would say, no, it's magic, it's black magic, it's not possible. That's why all the superstitions around it.
Thank you so much, Abira. I pass on to my colleague.
Abira, why do you want to join Civil Service of Pakistan?
Sir, joining civil service, I would like to say that it has been my dream for the past 7 years. I believe, sir, in this era of uncertainty in the country, I believe civil services can provide me, and I'll be very realistic, it will provide me a stable life, a stable job, I have seen many members of my own family who have been working in the corporate sector, and they are vulnerable to the economic situation, how economic recessions, and I've seen people losing jobs. So I believe you can have a stable life and a stable job with that. Also, it would be a pleasure of mine to somehow be able to contribute to the system.
Give your career a boost with CSS PMS preparation. From Civil Services Preparatory School, join CSS PMS for on-campus and online classes. Join us for your bright future. Civil Services Preparatory School, Jeetan Markaz, Islamabad. Register now at 0316-570-1593.
You mentioned in your hobbies your nature photography.
Yes,
so
sir.
How do you do it?
Sir, it's more of something that I would do when I'm out. Anywhere that I visit, I like to take pictures. It's not something professional. I just do it with my own phone camera. I like taking pictures of clouds, sunsets, sunrises. Whenever I'm in nature, I like taking pictures of flowers. Somehow, it brings me a feeling of peace looking at the beauty of nature. That, the Almighty Allah, who's creator of everything, He has put so much thought in making a flower that it deserves to be, captured and appreciated.
Okay. Last question from my side. You have also taken political science as your optional subject.
Yes, sir.
So how will you compare and contrast the theory of social contract of Rousseau and John Locke?
So I believe, as far as I remember, what John Locke said was that the people, they have given over their power to the social contract so that they can meet their ends, so that they can achieve harmony and peace. As for Rousseau, it was somehow more related to the general will of the people, that how the societies, they should be based on this concept of general will, and for that the social contract is necessary.
Thank you, Veena.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Abira, you read US history.
G sir, it was one of my subjects.
What is common sense?
Sir, this was an essay written by Thomas Paine almost during the American Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this confusion between the colonies, that whether they should declare a war against the British government or not. And he wrote that essay, and it was done within a matter of, I think, days or months.
Pretty good. Okay, what did you think? What were the impacts of Napoleonic wars on early US history?
So, because of the early Napoleonic wars, there was this political instability and the conditions of war between Britain and France, and that was directly affecting both of their relationships with the early US government. US wanted to have a neutral position, but both of them wanted to take sides with, they wanted them to take a side, and the US didn't want to do it. So, the British they started capturing their ships, so that, and hiring the American sailors forcefully to, use them in the war against France. And France was also threatening US that they should join the war, and US was trying to restrain pressure from both of the sides.
Okay, Abhira, do you see any contribution or working contribution of Plato's philosophy in political system of America? Plato's?
Plato, in his Republic, he talked about a very specialized government where it will be divided into, sections, that only one will, there are rulers and there are soldiers, and then there are, the third class people who are like workers. So I don't believe that I can see a practical application of Plato in US government.
Okay, what is major difference between Marxism and Leninism?
So I remember what Marxism stands for. It stands for a classless society without any differences. But I'm unable to remember what Leninism stands for.
My last question. So what did you know about the Proclamation Act 1858 in India?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm unable to recall it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Interview is over. कैसा रहा? How will you evaluate yourself? कैसे किया आपने?
So I think I was a little nervous answering some of the questions, but I try to keep hold of my nerves and answer as best possible as I can.
अच्छा, तो you are confident, ठीक है? Your communication skills are very good, and you clearly express yourself point of view. There is a knowledge gap. Knowledge gap ज़्यादा जो है ना, इसके लिए आपको मेहनत करनी है, कोशिश करना है, जो है ना, जैसे नैब के मैंने पूछा, आप you are not aware, इसी तरह अभी इन्होंने आपसे कुछ सवाल किए हैं, तो उसका नॉलेज गैप है. नॉलेज गैप को इम्प्रूव करें, और आई एम श्योर राइट नाउ वी हैव given you 75% marks.
Thank you, sir.
So you have the potential to reach 80%. I'm telling you. So for that you will have to work hard. ठीक है?
Thank you.
Abhira, you have a very good personality.
Thank you, ma'am.
You do give coherent arguments. Just be careful that when you're giving it, don't contradict yourself.
Right, ma'am.
So when one question is asked and the other becomes difficult to defend,
Right, ma'am.
there is a knowledge gap. Fill it up. We haven't asked you to introduce yourself, but in the final exam, you might be asked to present yourself. When you do so, prepare for that. You should not spend more than 1 minute on your introduction, and you should practice it in front of the mirror. Use the points that you would want to draw the attention of your panelists to, which are your strengths.
Right, ma'am.
And the knowledge gap that you have felt yourself, work on it. I'm confident that you will do very well, and I look forward to having you in Foreign Service.
Thank you, ma'am. Inshallah.
Good. और you spoke well, you are confident, ठीक है ना? 3-4 चीज़ें का ख्याल रखिएगा कि मसलन कुछ ऐसे लफ्ज़ ना इस्तेमाल करें जो कि ना आपकी नेगेटिविटी या उसमें वो आए सेंस. फॉर एग्जांपल आपने कहा दिस लॉट ऑफ पॉलिटिक्स इन डीएमजी, ठीक है ना? तो डीएमजी के अफसर यहाँ बैठे होंगे, उनको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, तो आप ये भी बात करनी. दूसरा आप इस्तेमाल करती हैं लफ्ज़ आई विल टेल. यू आर ऑलरेडी स्पीकिंग, सो यू नीड नॉट टेल अस, ठीक है ना? यू जस्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग टू अस विद. और जैसे आपने एक जगह आई वांट टू बी रियलिस्टिक, अगेन रियलिज्म इज अ सॉर्ट ऑफ अ थियरी, यू नो, सो यू आर ब्रैकेटिंग योरसेल्फ. सो आपने कोई ऐसी बात नहीं करनी कि हमें पता चले कि आप कौन है और आपके क्या थॉट्स हैं. और बाकियों को भी मैंने कहा है कि जब यहाँ आए ना तो आपने छा जाना है, ठीक है ना? आपने कॉन्फिडेंट फील करना है, आपने मुस्कुराना है, आपने सबको देखना है हमको, ठीक है ना? आपसे भी एक को देख रही थी जो सवाल कर रहा था, आपने सबको, ज़्यादा भी नहीं देखना लेकिन सबको देखना है. और ब्रीदिंग अच्छी करनी है. और जब आप थोड़ा सा नर्वस होना शुरू हो ना, आप उनकी आंखों में देखें, तो यू विल जस्ट कम टू नो दे आर जस्ट ह्यूमन, ठीक है ना? and you will feel confident to answer them. So these are some of the tricks. अगर आप Google पे भी जाएं आपको बहुत सारी tricks मिल जाएंगी. You did well and keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
And Amina, what you say about your knowledge part of your interview?
There were definitely knowledge gaps. I need to.
You answered very difficult questions, you know, very difficult questions in US history and political science. आपका एक क्वेश्चन से मुझे अंदाजा हो रहा है कि आपका पाकिस्तान अफेयर्स इज अ pretty gray area.
I would not. I would like to say that yes, pre-partition is not my strength right now. I need to work on it.
You read political science as well US history. उनको रिलेट करके पाकिस्तान अफेयर्स की चीजों को देखें, colonialism को देखें, decolonization को देखें, वुडरो विल्सन के 14 पॉइंट्स का इसके ऊपर देखें, राइट ऑफ सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन. ये ग्रे एरिया जो नॉलेज गैप वाला है ना, इसको थोड़ा सा इंप्रूव करें. बाकी आपको पैनलिस्ट ने बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन कर दिया है.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.